Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf News, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Greetings, everybody.
And hello to you. And we are about to head into our game news, which is a first look at Update 32's named loot.
Yes, no worries. Did post what they are looking at for our items. We're going to be able to get to drop in the new quest, which, of course, is going to be the assault on the slave lords.
It looks like we're taking all the clothes from the slave lords, so we're at it.
That is what it looks like, indeed. Just for example, we have a slaver's cloak that's going to give us insightful false life +8, protection +4, spear block 2, insightful resistance +1, and a green augment slot. And then there is a hardened helm that is insightful fortification +35, quality magical sheltering +2, natural armor bonus +5, quality constitution +1, and a green augment slot. So it looks like the color is going to be green this time around.
Green?
So all you green augment hoarders, rejoice. Your time has come to get rid of some of those out of your bank. And, of course, there's going to be some rings. We'll have some weapons, some shields. I love the shield name. There's a large shield. It's going to be called Breaker of Bodies. That is an awesome name for a shield. Not that any of my characters use shields, but it's an awesome name.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I could just imagine my warden in Lotro having a shield by that name going boom, boom.
And they have kind of a cool name for the cloth armor this time around. It's called Slave Rags. I kind of like that. That's kind of a fun little play on the... And I think the best one out of all the named items so far that no worries posted is the orb that you can get, the Mutilator of Minds.
Ouch.
So yeah, there you have it. And it does look like the ML of the heroic items is going to be 8, and the legendary items will be 28. And all items, of course, will be bound to account, with the exception of the base ingredients for the upgradable items, which will be unbound. So I'm seeing plenty of those in the auction house. But I like that it's going to be bound to account. That way, if you run this on a character and you get a drop, and that particular character won't use it, you can pass it to one of your other characters that can use it. So that's a nice touch. We still don't know when Update 32 is coming, when we can get these drops, or in my case, not get these drops from the RNG. So we don't have an update, but Cordovan did say they hope to have a Lamania update up soonish. So we'll see.
Yes, we will see. So then let's head into the Steam sale. DDO expansion packs are on sale.
Are you ready to spend some money?
Well, maybe. I think I've already bought all these things, haven't I?
Well, then you won't spend any money this time. But if you know of somebody that needs the expansion packs, or maybe you need them as well, or you have a second account you would like to get them on, I would say now is the time to do it. You can pick up the Shadowfell Conspiracy. It is the standard edition for $7.49. The Catacomb Starter Pack is only $2.49, and Menace of the Underdark is $8.74. That, of course, is on Steam, and it's through Steam, and this sale will last until July 4th. So you have a little bit of time yet to jump on these if you're on the fence about it. But that is about as cheap as they're going to get. I'm trying to think Black Friday, because they usually go on sale then as well. And it seems like they're 75% off then too. So if you don't get them now, you probably could wait until then. But I would just go ahead and pick them up now if you're on the fence, or if you need them, or you know anybody that needs them.
All right, and I see that There are also some deals in the DDO market here.
There is. For those of you that do not use Steam, you can go over to the DDO market page and buy some stuff over there, and there are some really good deals to be had there as well, like the Menace of the Underdark base edition for only $5.
Well, that's even less than Steam's.
It is. I'm glad you caught that. I was going to point that out, but you jumped right on there. If you're looking to play a half-orc and you don't have that pack yet, $5 over on the DDO market. Also, you can pick up the Druid and turn yourself into a bear and or a wolf for only $5. Shadowfell Conspiracy Collector's Edition is $12.50. The Standard Edition is $7.50, and you can pick up the Menace of the Underdark Standard Edition for $8.75. And once again, that's over on the DDO market. And remember, if you do take advantage of the deals over on the market, the new redemption policy is in place for these. You will get a key. You will take that key. You will go into game. You will go into store. You will click on add key, and that is where you want to add that, and it will add it to your account.
All right. Then let's head into our store sales, where you could spend your turbine points if you've earned any by buying these expansions.
That's right. We have 30% off this week on select adventure packs, which is basically pretty much almost everything from the looks of it. I kind of glanced today and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much... I'm sure there's like a couple things missing, but I couldn't like figure it out off the top of my head. I'll be honest, I didn't actually, quote unquote, research it, but it looked like most everything was 30% off. And the Quest XP elixirs also at 30% off in the store sales. And we have our free sample of the week through June 30th is the Lesser Treasure Hunters Elixir. The coupon code for that is Treasure Hunt, TRSRHNT. You can use that once per account, so as I always say, choose wisely.
So that code seems to be a little bit Val challenged.
Yes, but it still says treasure hunt though, so they're still using the codes that make sense. Maybe they spell them a little weird, but they still work.
Yes, they forgot that we're using an Indo-European alphabet here instead of an Arabic one, apparently. So let's head into From the Dungeon. And the Numenera starter set is coming from... Yes. Yes, the Numenera starter set is coming from Monty Cook Games. And I was talking to Drac about this earlier, and I was telling him that hasn't this been around for a while, but he says this is your first starter set?
Yes, this is actually the first starter set for Numenera. What they had out before, of course, was all the books that you needed to play, but there wasn't a quick, concise way to just get somebody to jump in and play. If you are new to the world of Numenera, this would be the way to do it, because this has everything that you need. It's going to be a rule book, of course. You're going to have an adventure book. It'll also include 5 pre-generated characters for you, dice, a card deck, a GM reference card, and, of course, a poster map. So it's everything you need just to get the box, jump right in, and experience the world of Numenera. This would be the best way for anybody just to jump in, because this actually has pre-gen characters. So because that was the thing that scared me about it, was character generation is pretty hardcore, because you have to spend some time to generate your character, because you have to answer questions, and then you actually have to plan out some backstory a little bit. So I think this is where the starter set's going to shine, is you're actually going to have those pre-gens.
Sounds like reminds me of the character generation system to Morrowind.
It kind of is, actually, in a weird way. That's a pretty good way of describing it, actually. And it also kind of reminded me of how, do you remember, I want to say maybe it was Ultima 4, maybe? Pretty sure it was Ultima 4.
Well, I think the only Ultima I ever played was 3. Was it Ultima? I think the Ultima 3 is the only one I ever attempted to play.
In that one, you actually went and talked to a gypsy, and you picked tarot cards, and whatever cards you picked, that was how you ended up creating your avatar.
Okay.
So that was kind of another way, and that's kind of similar to how you do in Numenera, but... Like I said, I've read it a couple times. I've watched people playing it, like Gen Con and stuff like that, but I've never actually sit down and play it myself. So maybe I should actually play it one of these days.
All right. I have to admit that the only thing I have that's related to Numenera is the Numenera edition of Thunderstone. So let's head into another Steam sale from Fantasy Grounds, and apparently they're putting the kitchen sink on sale.
Pretty much, if it is having to do with Fantasy Grounds, it's on sale during the Steam sale. You can pick up the base edition of Fantasy Grounds for $30. That's a 25% savings. You can also get a 4-pack. So if you have 4 people that want to go in together, $89.99. Once again, 25% savings. They also have a Deadlands Reloaded bundle, which gives you Fantasy Grounds itself and all of the stuff that you need to play Deadlands at $81.66, which is a 39% savings. And something that will be more of interest to our audience probably will be the complete D&D bundle, which is going to be 44% off, and that is going to cost you a whopping $241.77.
Yeah. Now, I should note that the reason why the D&D bundle is 44%, while most things are 25%, is because it's 25% of the normal 25% you get off for doing a bundle.
Steam math at its best.
Yes. Well, for Gen Con 2016, they have named their official bear.
No, Pine Leaf, not bear.
Not bear?
Beer, Pine Leaf.
Oh, beer.
Beer good, Pine Leaf. Beer good.
Yes.
This is something Sun King Brewery does every year. And, of course, Sun King Brewery is in Indianapolis. So, ergo, they decide to do a special beer for the convention that you can only get the week of the convention. It is available all throughout downtown Indianapolis at bars and restaurants. And some select retailers around Indy also carry it as well. But this year, the official beer of Gen Con is going to be the 20-sided rye. And we got nothing from Pine Leaf on that.
Well, it is just...
This will be tapped live on Georgia Street, which is located right outside the Indiana Convention Center, if you did not know. That's going to happen on Wednesday, August 3rd. There's going to be a big party with some live bands and other stuff, and of course, a sampling of the 20-sided rye. And I guess I'm going to be forced to cover this for the site because it's pretty big Gen Con news. So I guess I'll find a way.
You're just going to have to sample the contents of the.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to find a way to just take one for the team and do some outstanding reporting on the 20-sided rye at Gen Con.
So the question is, will you still be standing after drinking it?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Maybe.
Very well.
Time will tell.
You'll fall flat onto the tabletop.
Oh, nice one.
Yes. And speaking of the tabletop, let's go into that section where Evil Dead 2 board game is on its way. Does that mean that there's already an Evil Dead 1 board game?
Not that I'm aware of. This is based off the Evil Dead 2 movie, not the first movie, the Evil Dead 2. Ergo, Evil Dead 2. See how that works?
All right.
And let me guess, this is another movie you have never seen.
Now, this one, I would have to tell you, at least the genre is a bit outside of my usual realm. So,
well, that I could actually understand. Okay, this one kind of makes sense to me that you've never seen it. But yes, this one is coming to Kickstarter fairly soon. Players are going to take on the roles of various people looking to survive the horrors of demon attacks as they search through the pages, they search for the pages of the Necronomicon, which is never a good idea to search for the Necronomicon Necronomicon. If you've seen Evil Dead, you know what happens. Evil trees, deadites, and other horrors are going to await the players at every turn. And of course, our hero Ash will be in the game as well. I did post some screenshots of what the prototype cards right now, and they said these weren't actually final, but these are pretty close to what the card's going to look like. I posted that up on the sites so you can see. There is an official website for this right now. It just says, hey, we're coming to Kickstarter soon to take your money. That's really all it says. So we'll let you know when this actually becomes live. But I can almost guarantee you this is going to fund within moments like some of the other Kickstarters have done in the past, because there are a ton of Evil Dead fans out there. So look for the Evil Dead 2 board game coming soon.
And another one is Asmodee North America. Route 66 gets a new name. Hit Zero.
Which, okay, Asmodee, okay, I love the games you guys make, so let me get that out of the way right now when I hurt your feelings here. What a stupid freaking name for a game. What were they thinking? There's really, and they didn't even say why they changed the name. I personally like Route 666 much better. Nothing else has changed about the game. It's just Hit Zeroed, which, oh, that name is so stupid. The only thing I can gather is there must have been another game or something other that had the trademark of Route 666, I guess. Like I said, nothing about the game has changed. It's still for you and up to 4 players are hitting the road along the infamous American Standby, which is now inhabited by hordes of zombies. Your goal is to get to California unscathed, but you might be ending there alone. The rest of your party might not make it all the way.
Might not.
So basically, zombie survival horror game. It was set on, I guess, let me rephrase that. It's set on Route 66, but they were calling it Route 666 to go along with the horror theme. But apparently they're not anymore. Now it's Hit Zeroed. Asmodee changed the name again. That's stupid. My rant over.
All right. Now, never mind.
Oh, I can rant some more if you want me to.
No.
Okay.
Let's go into something a little bit more child-friendly, because the 2016 Kinderspiel des Jahres winner has been announced.
And it was kind of funny because I do believe it was a show last week. I had just mentioned that we should be getting the winners of these pretty soon. And, hey, we have the winners. Stone Age Jr. is our 2016 winner.
And apparently by junior, because the little leaf here says, ab 5 Jahren, meaning 5 years.
Sure, if you say so, that makes sense to me. And this game actually is not even out in North America yet, but it's coming out soon by Z-Man Games. I do believe they said Gen Con is when that is going to actually hit North America. And if you want to know what the game is, in the game, players collect and trade for goods, as well as build their own village. The player who successfully collects the correct raw materials to build 3 houses will win the game. Designed for 2 to 4 players, ages 5 and up, and it should play in about 15 minutes.
All right. And see how well you can survive the Stone Age. So let's then head into our another Steam sale.
I'm telling you, Steam just really wants your money, finally.
Yes, they're burning for my money, apparently. And looks like Tabletop Simulator is on sale, as well as some DLCs for it.
Indeed, 50% off. The base is going to be $9.99 for Tabletop Simulator. And if you're not familiar with what that is, you can actually create your own games. So what you can do is, if you are a big fan of, we'll say, even though I know there's like 4 or 5 versions of it up there already, say you're a fan of Boss Monster. You could actually recreate Boss Monster in Tabletop Simulator for others to play. Or you could even make up your own game entirely. And people can play it online. And of course, there is other DLC available that is like official DLC. Like they have Zombie Aside, Scythe, Tiny Epic Kingdoms, Darkest Night, Rar, Mistfall, and Tiny Epic Galaxies. Those are also officially available, and those are on sale ranging from $3.49 to $4.99. The other stuff that you get in their marketplace, that is always free. And some of the people spend a lot of time making their games, and they are really, really good. I know my friend and I play zombies on here a lot, and you actually feel like you're at a tabletop playing zombies with this. So it's well worth the $9.99 price tag.
All right. Now, you talked about Boss Monster earlier. It looks like Boss Monster Crash Landing expansion is coming in September.
That's right. Boss Monster is going to space, finally. Aliens are invading Boss Monster.
Aliens? What, do we need alien bosses now on top of...
We do need alien bosses. An alien spaceship has crash landed into the world of Arcadia, unleashing new treasure types and, of course, new boss types. There are also some new rooms that are going to be powered by alien monsters and their new technology traps. But the biggest news about this expansion is for the first time ever, 5 to 6 players can battle it out in Boss Monster.
This is, of course, that particular selling point is best for those people who are always having more people who wanted to play than were...
Correct, yep, because it was a 2 to 4, so now it is a 5 to 6 if you have this. And this is a true expansion, so you will need Boss Monster or Boss Monster 2 to be able to play this. This is just, it adds on the stuff I just previously talked about, so it is a true expansion. And it's got a MSRP of $11.95, and it should be out at Gen Con is when it's going to hit.
Now, Gen Con, I presume, then is for early purchase, since you did say in September. I guess that's for stores then?
Correct, yes. If you want to get it online or in retail stores, it'll be, they said the first week of September, but they're actually going to have it at Gen Con ready to buy and play.
Now, I've heard a rumor that you managed to get hold of a copy of Tyrants of the Underdark?
It is more than a rumor, Pineleaf. I am looking at the box right now to my right as we speak.
Ooh.
Yes, we do have it in our hands. Gale Force 9 sent along a review copy for us to check out, so I did just that. I released an unboxing video because at the time I released this video, not too many people had copies of this. This was before Origins. Gale Force 9 did bring a few copies to Origins that they had for sale, so now more and more people have it. But at the time, only sites like ours had copies of these because it wasn't available to buy anywhere. So if you're kind of curious to see what the game board looks like, the game cards look like, and all of that fun stuff, watch the unboxing video. And this was the first time we've actually done an unboxing video, and it's proven to be popular. People seem to like it. So we might do some more in the future.
Now, how do you know people like it? I don't see any comments on it.
Because you should see the views it has.
Ah, all right.
I'm not judging by comments. I'm judging by views. It went crazy.
All right, then. After unboxing it, it looks like you took a look at its components and gave it a little bit of a review.
Well, of course, I had to play it after I unboxed it. I couldn't just like, yep, it's a game, and then put it back away and put it on the shelf. You know.
Well, especially since it was intended to be a reviewer's copy.
That is very true too. So you do raise a valid point. So yes, so I gathered 2 of my friends, and we sat down and played it. And spoiler alert, we had a blast. It is a really, really fun game. The weirdest thing about it is it combines a worker placement, territory control game, and it adds a deck building element on top of it. It sounds odd. It is kind of odd, but it works amazingly well. And
since I believe I saw a quick vid of someone describing this game in one of the Origins videos by one of the gaming sites where they're showing about this, and I get the impression that, well, the title should actually give you the hint of this, considering that you're playing various drow houses. That's a very vicious game.
Yes, it is. even if I could see, of course, we were playing like cutthroat style, but I could see even if you don't try to play that way, it's still going to be very, very vicious. Because as you said, it fits the theme. You're in the Underdark, you're a drow house, you're trying to take control of all of the Underdark, so you're trying to outmaneuver, outwit, and basically just kill and assassinate all the other drow houses.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the drow are really nice, friendly people.
Yes, they are. And this is done through, like I said, it has a deck building component to it. It's territory control and worker placement. You're basically placing your soldiers on the board. You also have spies that you can place. And then you can, of course, assassinate the other players and take their soldiers, place them in what is called your trophy room. We joked about that in the video. Yeah. I did shoot some video gameplay of this too.
I was just saying, I could think of one reviewer they're probably not sending a copy of this to.
Who's that?
I would say Rahdo. I cannot imagine anyone who knows Rahdo sending them a copy of this game.
I'm not familiar with you.
Let's just say that Rahdo, first of all, 99% of the games that Rahdo plays are two-player games because he lives in Malta and he does almost all his gaming with his wife unless he's on travel. And second of all, they're probably the two biggest care bears in the entire gaming industry. They do not like backstabby games. Yes.
I don't see them playing this then.
Yeah, that's right. They're not even going to bother sending him a copy. Okay, where are the negatives?
Okay, I didn't personally myself find this a negative, but I know this is like the big contentious points right now. If you look on Reddit, if you look on Board Game Geek, people are talking about how they hate the game board.
It looks a little busy.
It's a map of the Underdark. It shows the routes to the Underdark, all of the houses in the Underdark. It fits the theme. It makes sense. That's my personal opinion. A lot of people hated it. The biggest problem I have with this game is the price point. They have the manufacturer's suggested retail price set at.
Yeah.
$74.99. After playing it, after seeing the components, I don't get it. I don't understand it whatsoever. You do get a ton of components. There's 220 pieces in the box, but they are all plastic. There's no minis. There's no metal statues. Everything is a plastic mini. There's plastic spies, which you get 20 of those, so 5 for each player color. And then you have your soldiers, which are represented by little shield house crest. And you get 160 of those for 40 for each player color. I don't get it. Why $74.99? I don't. And I even said in the review article, I don't know the ins and outs of the game board industry, so I don't know exactly how they come up with their price points they set stuff at. I'm sure they have a lot of reasoning goes into it, and I would think a bulk of it would be component cost. I mean, just that logically would seem that way to me. And I can't figure out how this is a $74.99 game.
Now, how many cards does this come with?
260 cards.
Yeah, so...
And then there's 68 die-cut pieces, which are your victory point tokens, your site control markers, your inner circle boards, and the first player token. And once again, those are just hard cardboard that you punch out. Not getting the $74.99 price point here, Gale Force 9 and Wizards of the Coast. Not getting it at all.
Well, let's see. Also add the licensing fees.
Right. You know, like I said, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into setting price points.
Yeah.
But, again, this is another big contention to this game. If you look, on like Board Game Geek and Reddit, people are on the same questioning as me. It's like, why is this set at $74.99? With all that aside, it is a really fun game. It's a great game. It's a well-designed game. The mechanics work great in it. It's fairly easy to learn, but it's going to be one of those games you're going to have to play it several hundreds of times to actually master it. The biggest thing I liked about it is it looked like, and you kind of saw this in the video, I did put videos up of gameplay, it's in the article over on DDO Players, that My friend and I thought my other friend was going to win, just based on he had a ton of areas that he was controlling, and he had a ton of soldiers out. So we automatically thought he was going to win. But we had forgot there is a mechanic in it that certain cards that you buy from the market, you can what is called promote a card that's in your hand, and when you promote it, you put it into your inner circle. You can't play that card anymore, but you get victory points for having that card promoted. So it turned out at the end of the game, the person we thought was going to win came in second because my other friend, about the last 4 or 5 rounds of the game, he was concentrating on promoting cards. So and then he said he had played at Origins, and the same thing happened there too. Everybody was for sure who was going to win, and it basically was a nail biter, and it came down to the very end, and the person only won by like 2 points. So that tells you that the design and the mechanics of the game are very well thought out and work very, very well. But this will be available in retail soon, as Gale Force 9 told me. It is, quote, on the literal slow boat.
Yeah, that is pretty often the case. Yes,
Then I did notice that you can, of course, order this straight from Gale Force 9 if you want. But there are a lot of sites like Cool Stuff Inc. and Miniatures Market that has this for way under the manufacturer's retail price. Most of them are pricing it at about $49.99, $49.97, which seems about the right price point for this. So keep that in mind if you're going to order it. I still can't understand how this is, going back to that price point. I don't see how this is a $75 game. I just don't do it. But I love the game. It is an amazing game. It is so fun to play. I can see myself. This is one of those games that you are going to play on your game nights. Or if you have a lot of people at your game nights, this is one of the games that is going to be on one of your tables because people are always going to want to play this game. It is that well of a design game. There's just a few flaws in that being the price point and how I kind of wish they gave you actual minis. At least some minis and not just plastic pieces. But other than those two little small minor nitpicks, well, not worth the $75 price tag, but at $50, a must-buy game. And we would like to thank Gale Force 9 for sending us a copy to review.
Then let's into our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you up to other than testing out Tyrants of the Underdark?
Which, surprise, I played Tyrants of the Underdark, but we'll talk about that in a minute. On Kenneth, the level 7 ranger that I just created, that is for the static group that I have with Mithri, Sabajade, and Rent. We, of course, made those new characters. This was supposed to be the week that we played, but we didn't play. And I am not sure why we didn't play, because I didn't hear from anybody. Nobody showed up. So there I was, all by myself. I can hear the sounds of little tiny violins playing now.
Oh, yes. That's right. This is the week you were supposed to play. Oh.
And I
forgot the name. I forgot the name of all those Harbor solo quests. Yes.
Right. So that's what I ended up doing since nobody showed up and it was just me. I finished off the harbor, so I ran everything in the harbor. And then I did the Sharn Syndicate. And after I got done with the Sharn Syndicate, that was enough to hit my Coin Lord favor. So I got my bag, and that was our homework. That's what we were supposed to do before we met. So see, I didn't finish my homework in time, but then I did because I was the only one that showed up to game night.
So they knew you didn't finish your homework. So they
apparently so. I must have put that out there in the ether. It's like, I'm not done yet. Don't show up. And it worked. So the only other thing in-game that I did was with you, and I'll let you talk about that because I have another rant about that, but I will try not to rant too much. But, oh my gosh, yeah. The only other thing I did, of course, is tabletop games. Of course, the Tyrants of the Underdark, which we just spent the last probably 15, 20 minutes talking about, so I don't need to say much more about that. Then I also played a mystery game.
A mystery game.
That
Now,
is
when you say a mystery game, a game that you're not telling us the title to, or are you talking about a game that involves solving a mystery?
a game that I'm not telling you the title to.
Ooh, so that means you were then play testing a game then.
No, I was actually playing a game for a review, but I
Ah.
can't talk about it, and I can't release the review because the manufacturer set in what is called an embargo on it, so I can't talk about it. I can just say, hey, I played this pretty cool game that we're going to review at some point, but that's all I can say.
All right.
So look for that. July 21st is when I can put the review up.
Is that around Gen Con time?
No, Gen Con is August 4th.
Ah, okay.
So it is about a couple weeks before Gen Con.
Okay.
And then I also played Boss Monster because one of my friends had just picked that up at Origins and he had never played it before. So I said, you know what? We have time. I'm going to go get my copy. So we played Boss Monster. That is such a fun game. And that is my week in tabletop and in DDO. So, Pineleaf, what am I going to rant about, and what did you do yourself in tabletop and DDO?
Very well. We will then head into my Sun Elf Cleric, a Morning Lord. This is a character I've not played because character is still level 15, so therefore Sun Elf Cleric is still level 15, which shows you how little I've played the character. And we decided that we were going to run Memoirs of an Illusionary Larcenist, where I came to the conclusion that this particular quest probably has more bugs in it than the Midwater Marsh. One thing I think is that, well, first of all, it has a tendency of not liking hirelings. It's almost, in some ways, it's acting as if they intended it to be a solo instance and changed their mind. So a couple of things were funny with hirelings. And the second thing is, I think at some point, because we had brought out hirelings, it set the instance to be 4-player difficulty. And when we got to the boss fight, we didn't have the hirelings out because we needed to get rid of the hirelings in order to be able to progress any further. And now we're fighting it at difficulty 4 when we're at difficulty 2 that we could handle. And we were creamed, even though we were level 15. This dungeon was 11.
Yeah, we got owned. We got owned big time.
Yeah.
And I was on my ranger, so I had like a little bit of healing. I couldn't keep up because, of course, rangers are not the world's best healers unless you actually, gear them out and stat them out that way. I mean, I can do enough healing to where I can usually keep somebody else alive, or I can keep myself alive. I could not even keep up. I was healing as fast as I could, and still, it was just insane.
Yeah. Now, it is rather strange that we chose to do things the way we did, because I would have thought, logic would tell me that with the party makeup we had, that we would have planned this out a little bit better and had convinced the cleric to do more healing.
That's your first problem right there, is you think we actually plan stuff out. Problem number 1 with your train of thought is us plan stuff out. No, the reason why we did this is last week, I think during the show, I talked about something, and I said it was from the new quest, and you still hadn't run them. So I said, well, let's run them then. We'll just run through all the new quests, then you can see them and experience them. So, and this was the only one of the, well, I guess they're not new anymore, but they were the No More quests that came out with the last update. This is the only one of those that I have not ran yet. I have ran all the other ones. And in my humble little opinion, this is the worst quest in the whole series. And this ranks right up there with the Crucible for worst quest in DDO, if you ask me. This quest is just horrible. I'm sorry, Turbine, but this quest sucks. I can't ever see myself even going in on one of my other characters and even trying to finish this, because I just don't care about this quest that much. I'm sorry, it's horrible.
I get the impression that you might not like this quest.
Yeah, and I really shouldn't say that, because you know what happens when I say I dislike a quest? The damsels hear that, and then the damsels make me do it.
Oh, because they tell you, no, it's a wonderful quest.
So I can see this in my future, so I'm going to have to run this one time because I know the damsels are going to make me run this. But I vote this is one of the worst quests in DDO ever, and I do not like this quest. Well, then, DDO Central, I am a wimp because he says the Crucible is a great quest. You are a wimp if you don't like it. Then I am proudly a wimp, sir, because I hate the Crucible too. So we'll see. But anyway, enough ranting. This has turned into the rant show.
Right. Then I managed to get distracted and didn't do my usual temple run this week since I had gone through part 2 of it last week with my character, so I wasn't, I guess, as motivated to do it again. And I had Descent out, and I've been spending all the time I should have been doing the temple and DDO playing Descent.
Yeah, I've noticed on Steam you've been playing that an awful lot here lately.
Yeah, so I've been playing Descent, and I finished the mini campaign that was originally the free sample. It is more of a tutorial than a campaign, in truth, which is, I think, one of the things that went into it when they decided to give Kindred Fire for free is because to have a real campaign, because I mean, that's what some people are saying. They're expecting the Rise of All Goblins to have been a real campaign, and they say, what? That's it? Because it's essentially a tutorial plus a shopping trip, a couple of optional side quests, and a finale, which is, not a real campaign. It's just some prep work and then a epic dungeon, because that final dungeon is a pretty in-depth dungeon into it, and it's a real massive boss fight at the end, which I eventually got squished in. But that's beside the point. It took me too long in there, so I started getting squished. But now I started Kindred Fire, and now I'm doing that, and I got together a pair of characters because I've had my first run. I had a mage and a warrior type. So I decided, all right, this time I'll go with a healer and a scout. And I managed to get a class combination, which the way I had it working out originally for the first one, they weren't quite ready to click together. I was unfamiliar with the character classes, unfamiliar with doing anything here. And yeah, the dungeon just squashed me. So therefore, I decided, I went back, built things up, and went to town a little bit, trained a little bit, bought a few things, all that kind of fun stuff. And eventually, I went then on to a side quest, won that barely, but I won it. And this is showing how Descent works, because if you time things right, you're up to a point where, okay, you have a chance of winning it, just barely getting it, because I think if it was another turn, I would have been squished on that one. And then I did the main adventure, and that was also a very close one on there, and which I managed to squeeze through. Now I'm going through another side quest, and this is what I was thinking. Do I start this side quest, or do I do my temple run? And the name of the side quest told me I had to run this side quest, start running the side quest immediately, because it's called the Temple of Elemental Dragon.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So with a name like that, I just had to start running it. So I'm in the middle of that, and I'm going through there. I haven't run to the dragon yet, but I have a feeling when I get to the boss room, I'm going to have this big dragon that's going to give me a hard time. And this thing seems to have these weapons that are all over the place that are sitting around there and saying, okay. And I wonder, okay, what is this going to be about? I'm not going to go into details on that since that'd be a bit of a spoiler, but it's an interesting dungeon. And I'm going through there, and so I'm having a blast running into the various things that Descent and having a lot of fun in that way. And because of that, I didn't get any DDO done.
But it sounds like you're really enjoying the app that Fantasy Flight created for Descento.
Yeah, so
it basically made you jump into the game and learn the game and play the game. Because you had said last week, I think you had never played this. You had it, but you had never played it, correct?
Right, I had it for a year and a half without actually playing the game any. So therefore, yeah, it's what got me to finally go and take the plunge and start playing it. And trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do now? Actually, one of the scariest things about the game is all the special dice. Special dice scare me because I have a habit of losing dice.
Oh, well, yeah.
And when you have that habit, custom dice are scary. Because, okay, if I lose the die from the Castle Ravenloft game, well, just grab another D20 and use it in its place.
Right, exactly.
Right. D20s? Okay, I know when I was young, saying, "Oh yeah, just take another D20," you know. But these days, if you're into D&D, you probably have D20s around.
Well, one would hope.
One would hope, yes. But yeah, so I am into that and playing on that matter, and anxious to see how this particular campaign works out. And if it works out very well, then I'm pretty sure that when Fantasy Flight comes out with another campaign, we could, assuming there's no major sticker shock, that I'll be getting the DLC for it.
So their devious plan worked, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. Well, their devious plan was to get me to buy all those expansions.
True. Very true.
We currently have 25 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to help support DDO Players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest over an episode of DDO Players News. And we have an iTunes review from Please Choose Me Again, who left a 5-star review on iTunes.
iTunes Japan.
Ooh.
And once again, I apologize. This is a really, really super old review because I forgot you have to check other countries. So, yes.
And out of curiosity, what'd you do? Check every country in the world?
There's a secret to how I'm doing this.
Okay.
No, I actually found there is a service you can use that will check all of your iTunes reviews for you and give you each by country.
Ah, okay.
It makes it a lot easier because if not, you literally had to go in and change. You had to go into your iTunes and you had to change the country that your iTunes was to see other reviews. So, therefore, that's how I found we had a ton of these reviews sitting out there in other countries.
All right, and what does our viewer from Japan say?
They say, just wanted to leave you your first review. And apparently this was our first review on iTunes Japan, so thank you. Good show it is. Good chemistry for the host. Nice humor about the show. Like the mix of D&D news plus DDO. Being an old school first edition player myself, who also started out in Greyhawk, good show. Highly recommended. Worth the listen. And the shows are a good listen rewatch value as well, because of the chemistry and good humor between the two hosts. Thanks again for the great show.
All right, then let's head into our featured comment. Curtis Lusk, who left a comment on Tyrants of the Underdark review, whose opinion about the board game can be said as disagree about the game board. It's one of the ugliest, most boring boards I have seen in my 45 years as a board gamer.
And I did respond to him, and I summed it up this way, and I did say this in the review as well. This is one of those points where you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between for it. And it's funny to see people debating this on various places, because there are people that love the game board, and there are people like this that hate the game board. I've yet to see anybody that says, yeah, it's all right. So it's just kind of funny that this is like the big dividing factor for the game. And I did see on, I think it was Board Game Geek, there is some people that are not buying the game at all, regardless of what it's priced at, because of how they dislike the game board. So there are some passionate people about this game board, but I don't know. Like I said, to me, it fit the theme. It was all right. I don't get the hate, but whatever. Thanks for your comment, though.
Yes. If you would like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, The Players Alliance, @PlayersAlly, DDO Players, @DDO Players, Draculetta, @Draculetta_72, Pineleaf, @Pineleaf Needles, and you could also join our Steam group. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Players News. Every other Saturday after Locho Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk, and on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Academy After School. You can join us for a live show at ddoplayers.com/live. That is all for tonight. This is Pineleaf News reminding you to quest responsibly.